morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are so glad to have you all here. And Mr. Balogun, thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, if you're just joining us, you're welcome to another Green Shield webinar themed Workplace Safety Audit, how to identify and eliminate hidden risks. How to identify and eliminate hidden risk. And with me here today is Mr. Balogun Shitu Shita, and he'll be taking us on this training this morning. So I would implore all of us to sit back, sit tight, be ready. I hope you have your pen and your paper to jot down things because today. So I would leave the floor for Mr. Balogun to go ahead. And
Sorry,
after his
Kelechi, can you hear
presentation,
me?
we'll have the question and answer session. Thank you, Mr. Balogun, for joining us this morning. We are really honored to have you here. To bring out someone as important as you to our webinar, it's not easy. It's not easy. We understand you have your busy schedule and you still, squeeze time for us. We are really honored to have you here this morning. Okay, so everybody here is Mr. Balogun Shito, and he is the HSC manager for 7-Up Bottling, and he'll be taking us today on this webinar training this morning. So, Mr. Balogun, please, over to you.
Good morning, colleagues and leaders on the call. I have, been going through one or two persons that we have as participants, and I'm quite honored that even some of the best in the industries are currently on this call, and that really gives me a very good impression. However, as an emerging hush safety professional, what we're about to share today, it's definitely not going to be out of your scope or things that you've not heard before. However, I want us to just see this as more like a cross-fertilization of ideas where we are going to be sharing thoughts, best practices, and how to make our workplace safe, both the present as well as future equity. Having said that, I would like to welcome each and every one of us, and thank you so much. Kelechi did a very good job by giving us a safety moment earlier, which I think is quite very important. We cannot be here talking about health and safety, and we definitely not putting into context safety moment being the very first engagement or activity to start this kind of engagement. So please, I'd like to know if my slide is up before I put it on slideshow. Can anyone see my slide?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So welcome once again, everyone, on the call. And we have just done the safety moment. And basically, the safety moment was about you scanning through your environment to be sure that you are free from any hidden or obvious risk. Know the nearest emergency exit wherever you are. You can also choose to have a bottle of water around you and just less flow. Nothing serious, guys. It's a cross-fertilization of ideas, like I said, and it's going to be a very engaging one, right? So I'm not just going to be the only one that's going to be pioneering this ship this morning. So I'd like to go into the meat of the moment proper. So basically, this is just about me. I am privileged to have all of these feats, right? And I definitely have been in health and safety for close to 13 years, still counting. I love to start all of my engagement and presentation with a brain teaser because, of course, we have to be able to, set the baseline right so that each and every one of us can be on the same page. So, okay, all right. So I would like to hear or know from one or two persons from this webinar. Kelechi, and please, you assist me in case anybody hands comes up. So I'd like to, what exactly are your participants? Are your expectations rather as a participant for this knowledge sharing session? Just two persons. You can drop it on the chat box and you can raise up your hand if you wish to, speak. And we have just 30 seconds for this because our time is actually fast spent. So anyone, just what are your expectations? Either one or two, just for me to be sure we're on the same page.
We have to be
Anybody?
hands up.
Please just call on anyone, please. Call on anyone.
Okay, Onyebuchi Chukwu.
Hello.
Okay, Chuku. Yeah, Mr. Oyebuchi. Go ahead, you have the floor, please.
He's muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Yes, yes, yes.
This one, I have done ISO 2001 and TMS, but like this goes like a refresher course, and it helps you to remember and guide you in audit, because you can never exhaust the possibilities of an audit report and an audit writing and all that audit and inspection. So that's why I'm
Okay.
so interested, wanting to learn again, refresh my memory, understand what it's about. If there's a new development in audit, it will help me to remember and to maybe improve on my knowledge. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, Mr. Oyebuchi. I appreciate it. The next person, please. The next person, very quickly. Kelechi, the next person.
Yes, the next person is Mr. Enam Odudu. Hello, Mr. Enam. Are you there?
Mr. Odudu, are you on the call? Mr. Enam Odudu, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
All
Yeah,
right.
good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Welcome.
Good morning, my fellow colleagues. Hope you can hear me from there.
Yes, we can hear
Absolutely. You're loud and clear.
All right. My expectations, and firstly, I want to appreciate everyone, Green Shield and Mr. Balogun, and I want to emphasize on the perspective on the oil and gas sector when it comes to the new innovations in Nigeria that has to do with the compressed natural gas, how risks can be mitigated, and how we can tackle some risk perspective in the workplace to be able to handle the chemical process of CNG installation, other processes that have to do with CNG. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we can just stop it right there. Thank you so much, Mr. Odudu. Duly appreciated. So this basically also, open our eyes to the fact that human beings' expectations can always be the same. So for over 50 of us on this webinar this morning, I'm sure we have different diverse perspectives and expectations. So I'd like to remind us that this is just an awareness session, right? It's a webinar session. So talk about best practices, talk about acceptable code of conduct. Obviously, yeah, you have to, drill it down by going for specific bespoke health and safety training, talk about ISO courses, PSM, and so on and so forth. So this very engagement is just to open our eyes to some of the tidbits of what is being expected to make our workplace safer. And thank you so much for those two wonderful perspectives from the two wonderful gentlemen. So I'll just delve into it proper. So yeah, so I think this another very critical and interesting one. I know some of us must have seen this very picture before, right? Kelechi, please one more time. I'd like you to unmute someone that would want to, speak to us about the context of this picture. What does it really mean to the person based on his, previous workplace engagement and experiences? Anybody, please. Teresa, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
So please, just in a very short form, just tell us what you understand by what's the context
Okay.
that this is.
From what I've seen is that is a normal norms in some of the construction site. Like this is how the site like where we have the before audit, how that particular place will look like. Let's say a kind of the pedestrians, how it looked like before the audit. Then when it was about time for audit, maybe third party audit or whatever, they had to do the normal 90-minute rush just to make sure that they pass through the audit processes and also shows that they are compliant. Then after that, everybody will now forget about to continue in that same lane. Rather they leave the place and they don't continue with that same energy that they gave before the audit. Then that's what we have after the audit.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam Teresa. Well, you didn't really bring it home well the way I expected it, but you tried. Do we have anybody that want to try? Anybody that want to assist, Madam Teresa? Anybody, very quickly. Do we have any other hands up? Remember, I said it's going to be more like cross-fertilization of ideas and thoughts. So and it had to be engaging. So any hand up?
Yes, we have more hands up.
Okay, please quickly.
Okay, we have Agabo Lucky.
Okay, Mr. Lucky, a quick one from you. We do not have much time. A quick one
Okay.
from you.
All right. Good morning, sir. My name is Mr. Lucky Agago, and I'm a safety officer in Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company. Well,
Welcome.
the picture speaks volume of the poor management commitment to this. Most work management, in particular audits, they are not interested in integrating health and safety into their management system. So that's what this picture is saying.
Absolutely. And that's just it. That's just it. You'll have to send me your BVN number so that I can deposit some money, Mr. Loki. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your, very succinct and direct. So interestingly, needless to even say anything on this, I just want to be sure, we are able to bring home the concept of this webinar so that everybody can be on the same page. Okay, so
we have one more hand up.
Okay, so the next hand should go for this because we do not have time. So the next hand, can you tell us basically what number should come next? Looking at the sequence of this arrangement, what number should come next after 20?
Okay, Anibu Nika. Nika Anibu.
Neka, how well do you know your mathematics? I hope you're an engineering student. Okay, do we have anybody that wants to try? If he or she's finding it difficult to unmute. Anybody want to try? Quickly.
Okay, she has unmuted. Okay.
I think the next number should be 30.
You're a science student. But you got it wrong. It's not 30. Anybody want to try? Anybody want to try? Any other mathematicians in the house?
I think 40 come next.
40? What's your name?
Ochiko is my name.
I'm happy to tell you that you're wrong. Anybody want to try again?
Yes.
Okay. Who? Introduce yourself and try, please.
Henry is my name.
All right. So what should be the next number?
The next number is 22.
God bless
22.
you. And a round of applause. Your name again, please.
Henry.
Henry, good. And finally, it's Mr. Henry that is cutting away our $1 million prize. Thank you, Mr. Henry. I appreciate it. All right, so I hope we've been able to really set the baseline before delving into the meat of the moment. So at this point, I want all hands to be down so as for us not to really have any confusion. Thank you so much for your participation from the first person to Mr. Henry. This is how we are going to roll. So we are going to be engaging ourselves as we go into the slides proper. And please, if you have any question while the presentation is ongoing, please raise up your hand. I love to attend to questions almost immediately. Thank you. All right. So what exactly do we understand by safety audit? And it's been defined by some school of thought. However, what we have here this morning is that safety audit is a management tool comprising of a systematic, periodic, and objective evaluation, with emphasis laid on systematic, periodic, and objective evaluation of how well the safety organization management and equipment are performing. These standards aim to ensure safe and healthy workplace by preventing work-related injuries and illnesses while promoting a culture of safety. Again, emphasis. Okay, I think I was muted.
Yes, that was an error. That was an error.
All right.
Yes, sorry.
All right, no issues. So, measuring and assessing compliance with established standards. So, for me, this is a more comprehensive and holistic definition and introductory about what safety audit is all about. And I'm sure many of us on this call can be able to really, agree with that. Safety audit basically is about being very systematic, being robust and holistic, being strategic about how you want to continually improve your workplace working conditions. How do you want to promote and establish a culture of safety? By measurement. So, of course, you have to have set standards, set requirements that you are looking at. And that is, if you remember the very first slide that I showed, I listed some of the requirements and ISO certifications and standards in which we can all refer to. Okay, so I'll just move to the next slide. Okay, so according to ISO 9001 quality management system, which we all know about, define audit as a systematic, independent, and documented process. Emphasis laid on systematic, independent, and documented process. When they say something is systematic, so it has to do with input, process, output, right? That is the basic of any systematic approach. Now, independent, meaning your processes, the interaction of your engagement and activities needs to be able to function both individually and wholly, right? And documented, meaning anything that you can't say that you have it readily available, either physically or on your system, or show objective evidences to show that this is what we've been able to do in order to improve and enhance our working condition in line with best practices and approved code of conduct. Trust me, you are not doing anything. And just like all of us that have been privileged to undergo ISO training before, what did they used to say that what is not documented is not what? It's not done. All right, so the types of audit, basically, we have external and internal audit. external audit, basically an audit conducted by third party. It could even be your insurance. It could be some of your key stakeholders. In fact, these days, financial institutes also come to audit organizations in line with some specific requirements, which I know some of you know about it. Some of us have learned about EcoVadis, and so on and so forth. Internal audit, it could be by, maybe if you operate a kind of a conglomerate, there could be an audit, being scheduled in order to audit the subsidiaries under those conglomerates, right? That is another type of audit. And finally, self-audit, in-house audit, which I love so much because nobody knows your processes and activities much more than you. So the frequent numbers of times that you do self-internal audit, the better it is for your system, especially where health and safety is concerned. Frequency and consistency matters a lot. And this is why whole audit needs to be planned. All right, so any type of audit involved review, analysis, and evaluation of processes, document, evidence, systems, and organizations. I've made mention of this before. You cannot say you are doing an audit and you don't have an audit plan. You cannot say you are doing an audit and you don't have documented evidences. You cannot say you are doing an audit and you don't have documented information and controls. It doesn't happen anywhere. You must document your processes, your engagement, your activities in line with set objectives and standards. It could be in line with ISO 45001, which is Operational Health and Safety Management System. At times, it could be in line with 14001, which is Environmental Management System, or even 39001, Road Transport Safety Management System. The context of your operation will determine what are the set requirements and standards that you want to tailor your audit towards, right? Auditor assesses the accuracy, validity, and reliability, verifiability, and timeliness of information, as well as the source and processes by which that information is obtained. And this is also a very key one because, like I said, you must be intentional about what you say you do. Health and safety is never an aspirational activity. You cannot aspire that you want to be safe. It is observational. When I come to your site, I see what you are doing. I see visible health safety leadership. Your leadership team has a robust and comprehensive policies, located in conspicuous environment. They are doing work the talk, they are allocating resources where required, and the line managers are leading the line by ensuring that there are risk-based approach to every activities. These are observational metrics. You can't aspire safety, like I always say. You must have something to show for it, right? Okay, so now I move to the classification of audits. Of course, there are first-party audit, second-party audit, and third-party audit. I know some of us on this call have undergone each and every classification of audit before now. So I'm not going to be, delving into this very strongly. So now this takes us to ISO 19011, the guideline for any audit at all that you are carrying out. Name any audit in the world today, you are going to see some element of this ISO 19011 in them, regardless of, even if it's Operational Health and Assessment Series, which is before Operational Health and Safety Management System, which is ISO 45001, and so on and so forth. This basically is an iteratory process which every organization should look into when you are planning your audit, when you want to establish your audit. So, and it's cut across just 5 clauses. Remember, for every or most of the ISO certifications, it contains of 10 clauses. 3 are non-auditable, while 7 are auditable. Clause 1 to 3 are non-auditable, while clause 4 to 10 are auditable. So, but what we are looking at here today is clause 5 and 6, which speaks to how you are supposed to carry out an audit. Please, let me bring our mind back. You are carrying out an audit so that you can identify risk and hazard that could result to, threat, injury to your employee, cause environmental impairment, or even business reputational damage or consequential business loss, as the case may be, right? So I just want to bring our mind back so that we are not going to be looking at it as if we are looking at ISO standards. No, we are still trying to, connect them on what is being required of, an health and safety person when you are carrying out your workplace audit. So from clause 5.2 to be precise, right down to clause 6.7 speaks to what is being expected of us for us to be able to carry out a very comprehensive safety audit in our organization. And 5.2 states about establishing audit objectives. You must have an objective. You have to have an objective that you are working towards. What do you want to achieve? What is your overall objectives and goal in line with health and safety management system? Do you want to wow your company owners, shareholders, or you want a truly sustainable and safe systems where employee could beat their chest whenever they are coming to work, that they are returning back to their family more safer than the way they left them? So these are the objectives. So when you're able to understand the overall or overarching goals and objective, then you can now set some priorities and metrics to suit whatever that you set. Determining an evaluation audit program risk and opportunities. Time was when we always talk about risk. Now, we talk more about opportunities, right? And the reason why we talk more about opportunities is not far-fetched. If you've conducted and lead audits regularly before now, you would understand the nitty-gritty or the essence and efficacy of ensuring that you focus more on leading indicator more than lagging indicator, right? I saw something pop up, so I want to check. Oh, okay, so it's for the participant. I don't need to fill it. Yeah, so you need to focus more on leading indicator, because when you focus on your leading indicator, of course, your lagging indicator will go down. Time was when we used to focus on, zero accident, no spillage and all of that. But now, what organizations, best organizations do is they focus on their leading indicator and they go for it, right? So, and this speaks to this clause 5.3, determine and evaluation of the program risk and opportunities. Like I said, risk and opportunities are two sides of the coins. For every risk that you've been able to identify, when you dig very deeply, you must see an opportunity. Clause 5.4, establishing audit program. Of course, yes. How do we want to do an audit? What is the location? What is the scope and applicability? What part of our process are we looking at? Are we just looking at the procurement side? Are we just looking at the supply chain management? Or we are looking at core operations? So all of these things need to, be identified. 5.5 speaks about implementing audit program. So based on the objectives you set, based on the program, now you are going into the audit proper. You are implementing the audit program as you've set it initially. Monitoring audit program. Of course, while there's an audit ongoing, there are specific individuals that are required to do what? Monitor audit. See if it's going in line with the intended, objective as the case may be. Because there are times when you start an audit, and in the middle of an audit will scatter. That happened to me many times. Auditee not wanting to speak with auditor because he feels the guy is too proud, or he's too bossy, or is requesting for objective evidences that are non-existent, or maybe he's even looking for my downfall. So, in the middle of audit, you just see that the audit is non and void, inconclusive, just like we normally hear during election period, right? So 5.7, revising and improving audit program. So of course, you want to revise and improve based on the findings, gaps, deficiencies that you've been able to find. And this basically is what we'll call CAPA, or CACA as the case may be. CAPA means corrective action plan, and CACA means correction and corrective action plan as the case may be, depending on what terminology that you are using in your organization. So 6.2, initiating an audit. So from implementing an audit, then it could also trickle back to you initiating an audit, because at times when you are doing an audit, inside an audit, you see the need to start another audit. That happened before, right? So preparing audit activities, then meaning you now have to go back to what? Prepare the audit activity that you just identified that you also need to do an audit while you're in the middle of the audit. Then you conduct audit activity, preparing and distribution audit report, complete audit, and so on and so forth. So basically, this just shows what the plan, do, check, and act, the iterative process of what is being expected for you to carry out a successful audit. Okay, I'll move to slides are not moving. Okay, good. So audit objectives. Remember I spoke about this earlier, about you having a SMART objective. So it's not just about you having an objective, right? It's also about you setting a SMART objective. So, and we all know what SMART means. It needs to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be acceptable, applicable, reasonable, as well as time bound. So being specific is ensuring that it hits home, it hits the target. And what do I mean by this? You have to be able to understand your processes, workflow, through maybe your P&ID diagrams, and so on and so forth, for you to really have a very, very detailed and critical to safety audit procedure. If you miss it in that specific, every other MART, you miss them. So meaning you must ensure that whatever specific objective you are setting that you want to achieve is in line with your context of operations. Okay, so of course it has to be measurable. You must give a value. Do you record 25% incident or lost time accident last financial year? Now you want to reduce it to 7% or 6% or even 0%, depending on the resources that you have in your organization. Acceptable and applicable. It had to be accepted, meaning you must carry all stakeholders along. Gone are those days when you just sit down, in your confined zone and draft out what you are going to be auditing a certain processes against. You get there and they'll tell you they don't have it. So this is why you have to do what? Make sure you engage them. It's a collaborative effort, right? It's not a fault-finding exercise. And it has to be reasonable, yes. Looking at the scope and applicability, you have to be sure that whatever you said you are spotlighting or touchlighting is in line with your context of operation again. You cannot take an oil and gas checklist to audit a manufacturing organization. Some part of it will work, some part will not work. Some part of it that will work will be where basically you have almost the same critical to safety equipment, compressor, and all of that, right? Diesel generator. But for the overall processes, trust me, it's just going to miss the point. So this is why we said it had to be reasonable. It had to really eat home. Time bound, of course, there should be a time to conduct an audit, right? When you have a beginning, you must be able to identify when you want to end the audit. An audit is a start and stop. It's not just something you continue. And this is why it's very required for us to set our time bound and timeline. And that time bound and timeline is not just for the purpose of the audit that you are conducting. Also, it is for closeout of corrective action plan. So you can set a timeline that you want to start and finish an audit, and you can set a timeline to say you want to start, and by this time you want all of your corrective action plan to have been closed out by each and every individual that are accountable to close them out, right? Okay, so the purpose of an audit, our time is fast spent, so I'm going to be very fast now. The purpose of an audit, what we can see, to determine conformity, determine effectiveness, provide opportunities for improvement, then meet regulatory requirements, then obtain certification. And the reason why I put it in red is this is very, very antithetical to health and safety management system, I must say. Most organizations today just want to do audits just for them to be able to have that certificate. At the end of the day, remember the first picture that I showed you before, during, and after. That is exactly what will happen, right? Okay, so methodology in conducting a safety audit. The following activities are carried out. Sorry, something is popping up on my screen, so I'm trying to. Safety audit and implementing the audit recommendations. So like I said, you must have pre-audit activities, key on-site activities, then post-audit activity. I'm going to try and explain this in the next slide, right? Okay, so these are basically the pre-audit activity. The safety audit process begins with the following activity before the actual on-site audit takes place. So your pre-audit activity is not when you get to site. It is before you even agreed on the time that you are going to get to site, right? So request by management, identification of industry according to high hazards, high rate of incidence. So are you in the logistics and transportation business? Are you in manufacturing, or are you in oil and gas? So you must have been able to, have an overview of what the organization is set out to, achieve in the first place. Every organization is set up, to solve a particular pain point. And for oil and gas, for logistics, for manufacturing, of course, they are solving problems today, but different problems. Then you have to scheduling of the audit, and the scheduling of the audit is just basically telling us about the time, the date, venue, and that's what the scheduling of the audit is all about. Selection of the audit team, it is very, very key. Most times when audit fails are as a result of you not having a cross or multi-faceted professionals across all of the value chain to carry out and support you while conducting an audit. I have been part of an audit before, and all of us in that audit are engineers. What happens when we get to supply chain? What happens when we get to finance? Or what happens when we go to customer experience or customer service, as the case may be? Our knowledge, our competencies are quite limited when it comes to those other core business drivers. Because today, customer experience or customer service are driving business from the very top. Same as finance, same as logistics and supply chain. Being an engineer, it's not enough for you to really understand the nitty-gritty of such process. So when you are coming up with your selection of audit team, you must ensure, right, that your audit team is comprising of individuals that have diverse knowledge, competencies in some subject matter. All right, development of audit plan, which includes defining the scope of the audit. I've made mention of this before, and the scope is the boundary and applicability. So we want to audit the warehouse department, we want to audit the distribution center, we want to audit the health and safety department, we want to audit quality control and quality assurance department. You must be able to scope it, you must be able to screen and scope it, you must be able to understand the fact that it needs to be centric to a certain kind of process for you to get the best out of them. The only time that you do more like an overview or overround audit is when you are looking at IMS, which is integrated management system, and that will now comprises of virtually all kind of requirements that you might want to check. Okay, I've spoken much about this. So background information to be gathered. So for every audit, for every safety audit that you're going for, this is very important. And like I said, these are not just all of the list, right? You can also consult, other materials, other professionals' thoughts, and definitely you would see that the list might be, exhaustive. All right, inexhaustive rather. So list of products. Of course, if you are auditing any organization, be it oil and gas manufacturing, they have, and I'm not talking about service company now, right? I'm talking about tangible products, right? So their list of products could, give you some form of understanding as per both the inherent risk and the obvious risk in that organization. For example, an organization that is manufacturing chemicals, organization that is manufacturing just bees, organization that is manufacturing plastics, you already know from the product they are dishing out to their customer or consumer the kind of risk that could be inherent in their operation. Brief description of the manufacturing process. And this is what I call the inflow, the process, and the outflow, right? So the process had to be identified from the input, raw material, blah, 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 to where the work is being done, which is the production facility, where the mixing and, every other engagement and activity is being done, to the output, the warehouse, the back end. You must have a description that really sets you in line to understand what the value chain of the business is speaking to, right? And this could come in form of process flow diagram, block diagram, and all of that. Built up areas and sites plan, names of departments. This is also very key. As an auditor, you don't want to start an audit and you are calling supply chain logistics, or you are calling logistics distribution. So you have to be able to master your craft and understand the differences between these two or three very close functions or departments. Numbers of companies employee, this is also very key, right? You cannot have just 50 person and you are recording 5 lost time incidents every week. You know what that means when it comes to health and safety metrics, right? So you want to know how many persons, because the more the employee, right, the basic, or let me say, the more the risk or the more incidents that could happen from such process, right? Because we must always understand the fact that humans are fallible. We must also factor in that human fallibility, especially when you are looking at workplace incidents. There are human failures, there are human errors, there are violations, and there are mistakes, right? That comes from man-machine interface and activity. So the more persons you have, the more likely that you're going to be recording incidents. That's just the bottom line. Regardless of the control you put in place, call it technological innovation, call it engineering control, call it processes and procedure. That's just the truth. Except when you take out that human factor from it, then you remove the exposure. All right, I won't be able to really drill into that because we have a limited time here. Organizational structure, including she function. Of course, you must have your organogram. You want to understand accountability. You want to understand who does what and how, roles and relationship, who reports to who, where can you really put your power when it comes to, requesting for visible fire safety leadership and all of that, right? List of chemicals handles as well is a very critical data that you might want to also look at. Brief description of major incident in the past. This is very, very important. This might not be 10 years, right? In fact, it can be in the last 3 months, depending on the frequency of incidents in the organizations. But what this is just trying to tell us is that historical data is very, very important, right? Historical data is very, very important because you can easily track and trend the improvement that you want to foster at the end of the day through historical data. Accident statistic for the last 5 years, this is speak to historical data. So it could be a certain period of time. You want to know what are the accident statistics, what are the first aid cases that you've been recording, what are the near misses that employer have been reporting, what are the safety suggestions, right, that have been coming from maybe potential incident on your site coming from employee. All of these will do what help you to be able to track and trend and give at the end of the audit a very suitable and robust corrective action plan where required. Detail of SIF. SIF is serious injuries and fatalities, just like fire, explosion, toxic release, catastrophic events. And this is very, very, common in oil and gas, chemical handling processes, and all of that. Good. So, like we all know, we've been sitting down for quite a while. I don't know, maybe in the last 20, 10, 15, or even 30 minutes as the case maybe. So it's time for us to go for an ergonomics break. And our ergonomics break is just going to be for 60 seconds, 1 minute. So wherever you are, you have to stay true to yourself, please. Can you just look at what you're seeing on your screen and also replicate, please? So I'm going to be doing mine. And let me check my time. This is 10:56. So by 10:57 or 10:58, as the case may be, we'll commence the class. Please, am I audible? Am I still very audible, guys?
Yes, you are.
All right, good. So please, everyone, I don't want to say you should start showing your video because I know some of us are sleeping on the bed and all of that. But if you are comfortable showing your video, why not? Please go ahead. So let's just do the stretches together. So let's start from the upper trapezius stretch. So, you have to, be able to stretch just for you to be able to go to the other side. Good. You might want to stand up, all right, Kelechi? Let's stand up so that, So you can go to the scaling stretch. So just, take your neck and just turn it around, turn it around, turn it around. Okay, now your wrist extension. You can see? Yeah. Okay, do it for the other hand as well. Good. Good. So now let's go to your thumb. In order to make sure that you don't have any numbness in your thumb, right? Just twist them around, twist them around. Good, good, good. Okay, let's go to the levator stretch to your back. Yeah. Okay. Good. Tendon glides. Okay, so just hold up your palm like this and try to, fold them diagonally. Good, good. Right? Now let's go to wrist extension. All right. Good. And finally, the pectoral stretch. So you could just hold any pillar that you have around you and just, stretch, stretch. Don't go and hold what is not stable so that you won't fall, okay? Exactly. All right, all right, all right, all right. Nice, good, good. All right. So I want to hear from anyone. Do we have people doing it at all, or it's just me and Kelechi? Do we have anyone that did this? You have to be very true to yourself anyway. Anybody? Was there anyone that did it? Any changes?
Yes, they're responding.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So you guys like it, right? Interesting.
Yes.
Good. All right. So let's just continue.
Okay.
All right. So this is another brain teaser again. Like I told you, I love brain teasers because I know there are so many very, very intelligent personnel on this course. So I would like to hear from. So you help me on mute. So and just a response to this question. So which structure is regarded as the tallest currently in the world? You have your options. Anybody want to try? Is there anybody that knows the answer? Anybody that gives me the answer, you have a very, very interesting prize to win. A very, very interesting one. Anybody? Do we have anybody hand up? Hello, guys. Do we have anybody on top? Kelechi, can you help me check the back end?
Yes, Mr. Lucky.
Okay, Mr. Lucky, you want to make a try? So which is regarded as the tallest building in the world? You have your options.
D.
B. Oh, Mr. Lucky is you again. Tokyo Skytree.
No, I said Jeddah Tower.
Okay, you said Jeddah Tower, right?
Yeah.
D. Okay, good. So we have Salah say that hand up earlier. Can you help me unmute her? Like I said, I want this thing to be balanced. So male and female, we have to continue to tick the box of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So do you have any female that want to try? Mr. Lucky, you missed it also. Do we have anybody that want to try? Kelechi, your hand is up. Your hand cannot be up.
No, that's not me. I guess it's network glitch.
Okay, so do we have anyone?
Yes, Mr. Enna.
Okay, Mr. Ena.
Yes, I'm
I hope we are not checking AI, Abi Google. Okay, Mr. Ena, go ahead.
Mr. Enna, please unmute and speak.
Can you hear me? Burj
Yes, of
Khalifa
course.
in Dubai, about 2,000 something feet tall.
Are you sure? Burj Khalifa?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody? Is there anybody that want to make a try? The last try. Do you have anybody that want to make a try?
Okay, the frame sound is down. Okay,
Don't let me turn this to an assignment though. I need you guys to speak.
Okay, let's try Mr. Dennis.
Mr. Lucky and the other responder. Thanks so much. However, the question is going around not just TOA that is readily operational. So currently in the world, the structure that is regarded as the tallest is the Dubai Creek Tower. So you can Google it and search. The Dubai Creek Tower is higher than the Burj Khalifa as well as the Tokyo Sky Street. You can Google that and I'm sure you'll be marveled by what you're going to see. Dubai Creek City Tower. Although just in February 2024, there was a reversal as per the height, because the height is almost 1,350 2,350 meters planned, right? 1,350 meters rather planned, right? And Burj Khalifa is just 1,008 meters. So there was a review as per what the height would be, because there are some stakeholders and school of thought that raises eyebrow with respect to the quality and safety. But currently, it's under construction and it's going to be the tallest structure the world will ever experience by the time they finish the construction. So this is just, to glean some other learnings aside health and safety knowledge that brings all of us here. All right, so a key on-site activity. I made mention of this quite often, and first of all, right, you have to understand management systems. First of all, a working understanding of the industry internal safety management system, i.e. the set of formal and normal actions undertaken by industry is required to be developed. This step usually includes developing an understanding of the following. All right, so the following are factory processes, internal controls, the plant organization responsibility and authorities. Remember I said this, you have to know who called the shots, you have to know the main protagonist of the organization, so as for you to know how you want to assist them in closing out both their low-hanging fruit and their critical to safety incidents. Systemic or recurring safety-related challenges, and you can only get this from the historical data. Remember, I spoke about historical data, because there are some incidents that happen that are not just, they are not just in the surface, they are systemic issues, and you need to do a drill down. And this is why you conduct root cause analysis. In fact, some auditors goes to the extent of looking at your incident report, your accident investigation reports, to be sure that you've analyzed, you've tracked and trained the root causes, you've identified the root causes, and you have done what? Take necessary required actions to make sure that it doesn't reoccur again, right? The picture of internal management system is usually drawn from the following sources: discussion with management personnel, supervisor, and frontline employee. This can never be overemphasized. So for every audit that you've carried out and you neglect the Gemba guys, who do I call the Gemba guys? The guys that are actually doing the work. Forget about the work we are doing in the offices. We are receiving ACs, sitting in a cozy environment. We don't know jack about how the system works. You have to speak pidgin to these guys. You have to speak the language that they understand when you get to the shop floor for you to be able to get the best out of them. And that missing link could be what could determine how effective and efficient your audit could go. For so many organizations today, when you read their audit report, you see so many safety jargons that doesn't really appeal to the ears of the Gemba guys. Again, the Gemba guys are who? The guys that are interfacing with the risk on the production line. And this is why you need to speak their languages. If it's outside, they understand, speak it to them. If it's pidgin, if it's Yoruba, the very local one, please speak it to them. You know what you're looking for, right? And that mistake of, speaking alone with the people that supervises them, their managers, it goes a long way to create what we call the broken middle, because you are just discussing with the line leaders, the shift leaders, neglecting the guys that are interfacing with this process equipment, that are on every minute basis. They know every component of their equipment. They do the autonomous maintenance, they do the servicing, they do the cleaning, they do the... So these are guys that you need to hear from as an auditor, not just, the guys that are leading them. For every audit that I've done, I don't bother to speak with shift leaders. I don't bother to speak with managers, because I know as a manager, you have that theoretical experience. You can babble me with so many grammars and I'll be confused. So I'd rather go to the line and speak to guys that are interfacing with the risk and hazards, right? For me to be able to understand what are the problems they are facing. And let's remember again, for every safety statistics and metrics, for every number that comes up, right, it is either someone goes home safely or died in your facility. And this is why we have to give it a deep thought. We have to give it a very strong and deep thought. Safety statistics are not just numbers. They are values and figures that speaks to shattered dreams, that speak to families losing their son, losing their breadwinners, shattered hopes of young and promising children. And this is why each and every one of us on this call today, some of us that are at the helm of affairs where health and safety is concerned, we have to sit ourselves down and understand, what are we called to do? If you call yourself an health and safety professional today, it's a call to action. You are being called by God. Forget about the fact that you have to go to school, and even pastors, right, go to what's it called, to learn pastoral. Even afar now, they go to Islamic schools to also learn. So we, myself and you, are the pastors. We are the affairs of the workplace that are doing what? Trying as much as possible to make sure that employees come to work safely and go back home safely. And you have to do the due diligence. And why am I emphasizing on this? Because we have reduced those Gemba guys to nothing. Some of them are not even confident. They can't even speak to you. Health and safety should be about support over control. You are not more than any one of them, guys. You have to speak their language. You have to have human empathy. You have to make them feel comfortable speaking to you about their problem, and not just speaking to you about it, but regularly track how you are closing down all of these incidents or issues that they are reporting to you. And what happened at the end of the day, right? Even as an internal auditor or external auditor, in the case may be, you are going to be getting their note for each and every request you make from them. In fact, they'll bypass their organ through safety. It had happened to me severally, and it's still happening up until today. So guys, we can definitely do better. In some cases, a limited amount of verification testing is conducted to help confirm the auditee existing knowledge and initial understanding. And where this is very relevant is, for example, you are conducting noise monitoring. There are some apps now, when you install it on your phone, you don't need any noise meter. You can use your phone to record the decibel of noise that employees have been exposed to. Have you downloaded that link or that, what's it called, app on employees that are working at your diesel generator working area for them to, do this test and come back with you with report or result? What are you trying to do? You are improving their competency and capability. You are teaching them how to keep themselves safe. They are not just going to be in that organization and talk about, but they will go to their house and also speak about their health and safety person. That I learned new knowledge. I can download a noise meter on my phone and be able to identify the amount of noise decibel I'm being exposed to on an 8-hourly shift, as the case may be, and the potential impact in the next 5 years. So what are you doing here? You are improving their competency. You are enhancing their value proposition. And at the same time, you are meeting your own KPIs, right? Okay, I wouldn't want to really delve more on this. However, for the last point that I have here, some of us are only used to ISO 9001, ISO 14001, Operational Health and Safety Assessment Series 18001, and all of that, right? But there are some ISO standards that when you take your time to really do a deep dive into them, you will understand more what management systems and auditing practices are. The first one I spoke about is the ISO 19011, which is the guideline for any audit process. Now, I'm introducing to all of us on this call to look up ISO 10244 and ISO 19510. Both of them are very, very relevant tools that you can, harness into for you to be able to improve your workplace management system, especially when it comes to document control and documentation procedures, right? Because of our time, I'm not really going to go much into that. So in assessing the strength and weakness and control of auditor, look for the following indications rather. So of course, for every audit that you are going for, what are you looking for? You are not just looking for weakness, so you should also speak about strength. Let them know what they are doing well and let them know what they are not doing well. What they are doing well, give them thumbs up and kudos. Where they are not doing well, don't just nip it on the board for them, but also suggest for them what they need to do what? Improve on the system. Most times, the reason why auditors see audit as a fault-finding exercise is because we, as an auditor, we go there and tell them you are wrong here, and we don't even talk about the solutions. So as an health and safety professional, it's not enough for you to know all of the ISO clauses by hand and by heart without knowing the solutions for each and every gaps and deficiencies that you are picking up. Imagine they are talking about hazardous energy control. You've been able to identify where there are serious critical to safety gaps, but you are not solving any problems. You are not informing them, you are not instructing them on what to do in order for them to reduce the exposure for unintended, process startup or getting maimed or killed by unintended process startup. you have to explain to them in detail what are the hazardous energy controls, the miniaturized circuit breakers, the type of locks and tags that they need to implement, how they need to shut off, start their process, and all of that. If you are not doing that, you are not doing an audit. And as an auditor, it's not just for you to go back and write reports and give final submission of the report, but you need to tackle the problem on the spot and make it reflect while you're also giving the final output of your report. That means you're having contact twice with whomever that is concerned, and it makes it very difficult for them to forget it, right? Okay. For each and every area assigned, the auditor should ask himself the following question: if the facility is doing everything the way they have described the theory. So today, you can go to a facility and say, give me your operational health and safety policy. You see it well crafted, very beautiful, all nice and shiny, sparkling. They did the due diligence they were supposed to do. But when you now, take that to the process itself, you are seeing what? A mismatch, right? You can see a fantastic, well-coined and written SOP, risk assessment that are top-notch. But go to that line and assess how applicable it is. Trust me, you won't find anything of such. And this is why, as an auditor, you must be able to understand theoretical aspects and current realities. Okay, is the facility in compliance with applicable requirements, and is the factory and its premises free from potential risk and obvious and inherent risk? I think I've spoken about this very, very keenly. Collecting audit evidence. How do you collect an audit evidence? Audit evidence forms the basis of which the team determines compliance with law, regulations, and corporate policies. Suspected weaknesses in the management system are confirmed in the following step. Also, management systems that appear sound are tested to verify that they work as planned and consistently effective. Various work such as record reviews, examination of available data, observation and interview with employee, and other frontliner are used to gather audit evidence. If you understand what this very slide is trying to tell us, you would know that I've spoken about this multiple times, which is ensuring that whatever you are doing theoretically is also applicable to the current reality. It also speaks about you engaging the frontliners, the employees that are at the chamber doing the work, right? So all the evidences that you need to collect is record reviews and examination of available data with the team needs to be compared with applicable codes and standards. So today, what are you auditing? What are you comparing your requirement against? Is it against the OSAS 18001? Is it against ISO 5001, Operational Health and Safety Management System? Or is it even against ANSI or HSD 65, as the case may be? So all of this, we need to be very, very detailed and keen about them. Also, inspection and review of processes, material, and their characteristics, toxicity and reactivity information must be done. The following points should be examined during review of records: completeness and authenticity of records. Those two very standards that I made mention of earlier, which is ISO 19015 and ISO 10244, they will do due diligence for you when it comes to record keeping and documented evidences. So try and look them up and you understand practically what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so interviewing frontliners, the GEMBA, like I said, when you're interviewing frontliners, you have to ensure that, right, you don't make it difficult for them to answer your questions. You don't ask a yes and no question. Ask an open question where they can be able to express themselves, where they can tell you this is the way we do what we do, and these are the action plans that have been highlighted for us, right? During the interview, unnecessary irrelevant questions should be avoided. Please, very important. Keep them at ease, right? Gist with them. Let them understand that you are here to help them and you're not here to find their fault. The person being interviewed should be kept at ease. I've made mention of that. The interviewer should create a feeling of trust in the person being interviewed. Information should be collected by interviewing persons at the appropriate level. Verify statement by interviewing persons of same and different levels as well, which speaks to authorization, responsibility, and authorization, responsibility, and accountability. Remember, I made mention of that. You must know who does what, how, and why. The person should be interviewed in his normal working location. Yes, because of memory retention. Proper judgment should be used to select sample of workforce for interview, right? We are heading to the final slides now. Plant visit observation is another, this very slide is talking about intervene. Now, this is observation. Of course, you have to also observe, not talking to anybody. You have to observe the processes. You have to, from afar, look at what they are doing, make your jottings, make some recommendations, and all of that. So this is what observation is all about. The auditor collects evidences through what can be seen, heard, touched, smell. The following points should be kept in mind. I'm not going to be going through all of this because of our time. Then evaluating audit evidences, which is also very key. After the evidences have been gathered, either evidences go from interviewing or evidences you go from observation, or the one that you got through maybe testing, right? All of them need to be gathered. The audit finding and observation are evaluated. And what are you evaluating them for? In line with already set requirements or acceptable code of conduct, right? The audit team set aside a few hours at the end of the audit to discuss, evaluate, and finalize on the tentative audit findings. The team confirm if there is sufficient evidence to support all of the findings. Now, this is also very key. You must be able to identify what objective evidences they will provide for you that will be sufficient. You must be able to identify objective evidence that they will provide to you that will not be sufficient. And you must now be able to identify those that will be at the middle, right? Failure to do this will mean you only have go or no go. And that is where problems are always ensuing, especially in between auditors and auditors. So we need to be very, very wary of that mistakes, right? Reporting audit findings. I've made mention of this before on how you have to report your audit findings. You have to continuously, as the auditor and factory personnel interact, finding are summarized in daily work meetings. So if I'm to conduct a 5 days audit, I will make sure that for each and every day, we have 30 minutes set in order to revise and review what the audit that we just concluded. Because when you leave it till the following day or to the next day, what happens? Memory lapse, and you are leaving room for arguments. And once arguments start to creep in, trust me, the efficacy or the effectiveness of the audit will be compromised, right? Okay, post-audit activities. What are you to do during post-audit activity? Basically, to summarize all of this, when you're talking about post-audit activity, those corrective action plans from gaps, from deficiencies, how do you now make them action-based and action plans? So as the auditor, you need to ensure that you avoid common mistakes. And those common mistakes, all of us knows them. Today, some of us did a very, very sweet and effective corrective action plan, missing just one link, which is making it action-based. And what do I mean by making it action-based? You do not put a specific name of whomever that is going to close out the corrective action plan. 1, 2, you don't have a feasible timeline. And when I say feasible timeline, it is not the timeline in your head or that you determine. Remember, you don't even know the process more than the people who are the owner of the process. So you have to make it feasible by ensuring that you calibrate with them based on some factors like the resources, like management support, time, engagement and activity, for them to be able to give you what? Feasible timeline. If you fail to do that, trust me, the moment you miss 2 consecutive timeline for a particular corrective action plan, from my experience, the action plan is as good as done. Why? Because the zeal will not be there for the action owner to even close it out. Unlike when you set a physical timeline, you calibrate with the person, he understands why he needs to close out this corrective action plan. And he himself was part of the final agreement and arrangement as per the substantial date that you're going to put as your timeline, right? In summary, this is just to show, the overview of how an audit should go. And all of these have been spoken about. You initiate audit, you prepare audit report, develop audit plan, assign work to auditors per audit plan, prepare audit, generate audit findings, prepare your audit conclusion. Then you carry out your audit. It's going like this. Determine the audit consequences, conducting opening meeting, and so on and so forth, till you get to what? Follow up on actions and corrective actions identified in the audit report. So this more is like an iterative process of the pre, the during, and the post audit, as the case may be, right? So with this, these are the concluding part of the slides, and I have an audit arithmetic that I normally showcase during audit. That team spirit to cooperation is equals to successful audit anywhere, anytime, right? When you have that collaborative approach, when you are able to bring people from just looking at health and safety as an aspiration, but it needs to be observational. Trust me, you at the end of the day will be able to achieve all of your intended purpose in line with any audit that you set out to complete. So audit processes is far from being a fault-finding exercise. This is very key. When conducted effectively, it is a vehicle for continual improvement, and this has been proven over and over again. Thank you so much, listeners. I'm open for query, questions, contributions where required. And of course, those are my references where I got some of the materials that was showcased to us this wonderful morning. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Please, I stand by for questionings, contributions where required. Kelechi, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun, for this wonderful presentation. And once again, we are glad you were able to make it here today and give us this training. I must say that we've learned a lot. Me personally, I've learned, and I'm sure other safety professionals here have picked 1 or 2 things and would definitely implement in their process going forward. If you're just joining us, you're welcome to the Green Shield webinar. And our speaker here, Mr. Balogun, just took us on a ride into the world of safety audits. Okay, so our question and answer section begins now, and I'll be picking up questions, and Mr. Balogun would assist us with the answers. Okay, we are starting with Fajem Bola Frank. He said, how do I have access to the standardized and universally acceptable audit plans? How do I have access to the standardized and universally acceptable audit plans?
What's the name of the person asking the question again?
Fajem Bola Frank.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Frank, thank you so much, and thank you for staying through from the beginning to the end of the session. So you don't need a standardized action plan per se. So what you need is the ISO 190.11 that I spoke about before. So you can reach out to me via LinkedIn. Then I will share a copy of the guideline with you, the standard guideline for conducting and managing audit exercise, ISO 190.11. I can share that with you. And I'm very sure that will answer your query and questions. Okay, that's all.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun. The next question is from Emmanuel, Emmanuel, and he said, can we have the deck of slides? Oh, okay. Of course. Mr. Balogun, can we share your slides? You want to know if we can share, if we can have a copy?
Absolutely, please. I want to die empty. Share my slides. Share it to everybody. Let everybody have the slide, please.
All right, fantastic. Okay. So, Mr. Emmanuel, you get the slide after the webinar. Okay, someone else here. Okay, this is anonymous. He said, when sending an audit report, are you expected to mention the person's name responsible for closing out the risk?
Okay, I think I made mention of that initially. So one of the mistakes that we make, right, is the fact that we don't even bother to put, most of us put safety manager, you put quality control manager, right? It is not action-based. So you have to be able to put the name specifically of whom is to close out an audit gap or deficiencies that you have been able to identify. And furthermore, you have to calibrate with the person on how they are going to close it out. Because trust me, you've gone to an organization to pick out a deficiency, and the people you are putting down their names or their section do not even understand what they need to do to close them out. So you're only creating a problem half solved, right? So this is why it is very important that after audit, post-audit engagement, you have to engage each and every stakeholders that you know are very, very valid to closing out each and every gaps and deficiencies that you've been able to, identify, which, some people call it non-conformities, as the case may be. Some call it areas of improvement, looking at how severe the problem are. But yes, please make sure the name of the person who is to carry out a particular action in line with an audit criteria is being called out. Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, please. We have more questions here. Anonymous still. He said, how can an internal auditor who is a QMS internal auditor help an HSE professional in an organization who is bent on keeping to standards, but the management is not helping out?
Okay, good. So if I get your question very keenly, you are talking about poor leadership commitment to health and safety implementation. So that's just the summary.
Yes.
Okay, so nobody has it easy. And I'm going to tell you, I'm sure we have some very great professionals on this call today that are working in oil and gas. I've never worked in oil and gas anyway. Yes, I went to Petroleum Training Institute, but oil and gas never stick us. So the grass is not greener on the other side, right? The grass is not greener on the other side. Every organization, trust me, have one or two things that they are, lacking when it comes to implementation of health and safety management system. So you need to be very persistent. So you, as a QMS internal auditor, you have a very large role to play. I don't know if you've heard about IMS, integrated management systems. There are roles and responsibility of quality inspectors, quality control and assurance individuals when it comes to implementing a robust and comprehensive health and safety management system in any organization you find yourself. Right? So all you just need to do is to understand your role core element when it comes to driving health and safety within the space of your coverage. Take, for example, as a quality inspector, as a quality practitioner, you must make sure that you subscribe to what we call the right to know of employee. And what is the right to know of employee? The right to know of employee basically speaks about material safety data sheets, information gathering, dissemination to employees, and making sure that everybody is in tandem with the minimum requirement of managing, handling, and transportation of any hazardous chemicals. That is one of your roles, right? There are many, many other roles that you can play in ensuring that we have a standardized health and safety management system in your organization. And thank you so much for asking that question. I don't know if that answers your question. Thank you. Kelechi?
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Enamududu, he said, how does safety audit effective in compressed natural gas workplace / construction and operation? I think he's trying to ask how effective safety audit is in natural gas / construction environment, I guess.
Please, before we go into that, I just saw something pop up now from Wilson. It seems his response is the question he asked was not properly answered. So can you unmute him? Can you unmute him, please? Wilson Willie or something.
Okay.
All right. So for the other question, compressed natural gas. So there are standard requirements for compressed natural gas facilities / construction, like you said. You can always use best health and safety management system principles and procedure, ISO standards, talking about the operations, the support, the control of hazardous working environment, and so on and so forth. So Then specifically, there are specific requirements. For example, the American Petroleum Institute standard for process equipment, for compressed natural gases, or LPG, as the case may be. So you might need to look at each and every of these guidelines and see which one will suit whatever phase that you are, either construction phase, operation phase, or even the commissioning phase, as the case may be. But like I said, there are no specific guidelines to say, okay, for both CNG and construction, right? These are the guidelines. Of course, today we have so many guidelines that construction organizations use in order to ensure that they have, a safe and healthful work environment. So have you muted Wilson Willie? Mr. Wilson, can you hear us? You seems not to be comfortable with my response. Can you speak? Did you mute him?
Mr. Wilson, kindly unmute so we can hear
Okay,
you.
good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, good
Absolutely.
morning. All right. I feel you did not answer the guy's question, right? I think the person was talking about, when leadership is poor and not supportive as far as health and safety is concerned. Initially I was going to even ask that kind of question because I have a problem with where, this part of the world, at least I'm opportunity to have friends abroad, and I even have friends abroad that are now working as a safety professional. And then we try to then compare. We see that we're actually playing in this part of the world. So that is why I said you really did not answer his question, because at the end of the day, we see these challenges comes in various workplaces. Probably, like you said, not many of us have not been opportune to work in oil and gas where it's sort of automated, where the systems are just when everybody wants to play their part. But other than that, like I've worked in the manufacturing sector, I can tell you for sure, except most of the manufacturing and even oil and gas currently are owned by the Asians, and these people, they prioritize production over safety. So if we want to be really fair, even in these audits that we're talking about, right, in our company currently we have QMS auditors and all of that, and they see these things, SOPs, risk assessment, everything, we put them in the books, but in the field, that's not what it is all about, because these people if you want to really be realistic. So if we let's remove theory out of it. Let's say we have a system running. A good example is we are trying to even do quality management system. The regulators are saying we must do it. And I was like, come on, this thing is not supposed to be a must. And I said, okay, if we must do IMS, how do you, when it comes to closing out XYZ, can you hear me?
QMS or IMS?
No, I see currently regulators are asking us in our organization to do IMS, right? We should integrate.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that if I was on the opinion that we cannot integrate because of some environmental factors that impact that I know that closing is not even in our own control. How are you going to be telling third parties to come and do all of this, and they have obsolete equipment that are really, 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 really expensive to change, and they know? So I was like, I don't think it is really, really making sense. If you are talking about even occupational, all these things are just book, because at the end of the day, some areas that needs to be addressed are not addressed at all, because we are looking at the money to close that out. Communities are affected by some of these things, and nobody is doing anything about it. They're saying so I now asked the auditors that now came and said, okay, how do you want to? When we get to this part, they were all confused, but then, we are in Nigeria, everything goes. Somehow they will get the certificates. So let's be realistic. So if we want to look at these things as it is in the field, we will see that it's just a few companies that will say, okay, let's work by the book. Some of you made mention of SOPs. How many? I've worked in like 3 manufacturing, I'm in the maritime sector now. How many companies will want to say, okay, you are following? They will not. They will not, because from the top, there's a problem already. They are looking at production. They want to meet deadlines. They want to do all of this. And these companies are owned by Asians. Few Asian companies that will still listen to you. So I'm just saying that what would be the solution? But that's why I say you didn't answer that. Probably if you worked in an environment where you had this challenge. Okay, what did you do?
Yeah. So what should you do? And thank you so much. Thank you for really bringing it up. But if you listen very carefully, you see that I've been making reference to a statement which is visibly fail safety leadership, right? And that is basically speaking to the role responsibility of leaders when it comes to implementing a safe and healthful, management system. So, and you could also hear when I made mention of nowhere is greener. I have guys in oil and gas. When they tell you the problem they're having, you open your mouth. Forget about the automation and all of that you are seeing, the machine learning tools and all. No, they are not what you think they are, right? So there are problems everywhere. And I want you as a professional to speak more from the angle of solutions, right? And not really the problem. From your tone, right? I'm beginning to see that, yeah, you're tired of the situation, but I want to encourage you, Wilson, you cannot get tired, because there's a reason why you're even going to this profession in the first place. Once there are no longer problems,
sorry,
right?
Mr. Balogun, can I say something, please? Sorry to interject, please. Can I say something?
Okay.
I'm speaking from an angle of pain, right? Because this year,
I know.
Hold on, please. 1 minute. This year, we've lost somebody that, in fact, this year, let's just say this. Okay, this year alone, I've had cases of 3 fatalities, not in my premises, anyways, just within the business area. Just within the. I'm telling you from a regulated environment, just within the business area. These are issues that would see. I have a former colleague that worked in Dubai before he left, and when he started do there, I feel we need in Africa, like People are held responsible for these things. The company should be held responsible for these things because they know they have their ways with money or whatever, with the corruption and everything. That is why they don't have value for human life. So for me, I'm just looking at, okay, what can we do? Regulators are not doing what they are supposed to do. This environment, I'm telling you,
and
is
I
pretty
totally agree
regulated.
with you. It is our framework that is our problems. I totally agree with you, right? The government should step in. Individuals should also subscribe to, best ways of work. Organizations should be audited based on some specific health and safety minimum requirements. All of these are supposed to be, roles and responsibility of the people we are looking up to, the likes of ISPON, the likes of, NSICN, and so on and so forth. I mean, in Nigeria, but all of those things are not happening. However, we've chartered a new course, and it is beginning to, come to fruition. So let's just be very optimistic. I made mention of something the other time, that every safety statistics are not just figures and value. That's a life. That's a shattered hope. So let's just continue to speak the advocacy, continue to, speak the gospel of health and safety, and I'm sure things will change for good. Now, back to visibly fair safety leadership. There are key specific metrics for leaders
Mr.
in every
Balogun,
organization. Yes, Mr.
yes.
Chizi.
Thank you so much for really beautiful presentation and discussions this morning. And really, I want to also thank everyone that has joined us this morning for the webinar, and those that are really asking questions, because there's a lot of passion here.
Absolutely.
And I think I want to also talk to why we are taking this matter as a safety company. We're really pushing to advocate for the Nigerian worker. Okay, we want to raise standards, we want to raise awareness, and we want to push so that every Nigerian worker every day goes home safely to their families. And Mr. Wilson, we're going to get in touch. Okay, we want to give some visibility to the issues you're talking about in the area, specific area that you're talking about. Okay, so the Green Shield Safety, one of our main goals really is this advocacy. It's regulators that need to enforce the standards. The standards are there, but the regulators are failing or not equipped or don't care or want something. So we have to find ways to raise awareness, bring the issues to the front. Those people anybody that gets hurt is either somebody's father, somebody's mother, somebody's brother, sister, okay? All the time. The country roads, too many accidents are happening. So there's just a lot of work to be done. And we cannot relent. We're just starting. And really, for Nigeria to industrialize, we cannot really industrialize without manufacturing. We cannot industrialize without good standards and high standards. Okay? And those workers, there's just a lot of barriers: language barrier, attitude barrier, and leadership barriers. Leadership hurdles, because some people don't care. But we're going to find ways to make it painful for business leaders not to care. That's the key. Once it hurts their system, once it hurts their investment, automatically they will respond. Okay, so I appreciate all the comments. The battle is just there, it's beginning, because more and more people are joining this awareness. And I will appeal to every safety professional here present to keep us, when incidents happen, let us know, send information, because we will find ways to publicize the incident and bring it to the public domain. A lot of these incidents, they want to sweep it under the carpet. Okay, we have to shine a light on the incidents. We have to. The more we do that, the more we hold them accountable. Okay, and then the more they have to step up. Okay, so that's my comment. It's a responsibility we take on as a company, because we cannot be a safety company without working very hard to make life better for the Nigerian worker. Okay, so thank you very much. I will just keep my point there, and we will have a whole lot of follow-ups.
Yeah, thank you for your input. And I'm sure that basically did justice to, so many other persons on this call. Thank you so much for your input. All right. I think we can round up things now if there are no other questions. Kelechi, are you still there?
Yes, I am here. We have a few more questions, but I don't think we'll be able to go over all the questions now. We'll just pick 2 more questions, and that will be all for today.
Okay. I think that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so we have one question here. Okay.
Kelechi, you're muted. If you're still speaking, you're muted.
Yes. Yeah. Before we go into the questions, thank you, Mr. Chizi, for your contribution, and we are glad to have you on board. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Okay, so the question we have, Victor Celestine. He said, please, which of the ISO courses will you recommend for someone to be grounded in safety auditing and reporting? So he wants to know what ISO course you would recommend for safety audit and reporting. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your question. I made mention of it during the course of my presentation. So you look extensively, self-study ISO 190.11, guidelines and principles of auditing, and you go for both lead auditor and implementer course for ISO 45001. I know finances these days are hard to come by. Maybe you can start with the what's it called, the implementer, right, before you now go on to get your lead auditor. Lead auditor is not that very important. I used to tell people, except if you want to be a full-fledged auditor that wants to be auditing other processes. But if all you want to do is to have competencies, skills, knowledge, expertise, and exposure within your own process, why not? Implementer is all very good for you, and it's well all-encompassing. I hope that answers your question. We can engage through LinkedIn. You can. I'm very visible on LinkedIn, so you can always reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun, for the response. We have someone raising his hand, Mr. Aisi. He would like to say something before we go over to the last question for today. So, Mr. Aisi, can you please unmute yourself and let's hear you, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. We can hear you.
Okay, thanks, Kelechi, and thanks, Balogun. I think most of because mine was going to be a response to the discussions, but most of what I wanted to say has been said by the Green Shield boss. But I just wanted to add that, one of the reasons why, because I worked in the oil and gas for several years, right? And one of the reasons why safety auditing works well there is mindset. So I just wanted to, throw that in, that if we really want it to work, especially for the next generation of Nigerian workers, we need to start now to develop that mindset. We can't be tired and leave it. So if we are tired, then we have to do something about it. And that is developing that safety mindset that allows us to correct the system and not just give up when something goes wrong. So I just wanted to say that, because even the oil and gas industries, they have a lot of safety issues, but what they do, they take corrective safety measures, visible safety leadership, and then they learn from it and develop that mindset going forward to not allow those things to repeat themselves. So I just wanted to add that to what the safety Mr. Cheesy, the Green Shield Safety Boss, already said. So thanks, Balogun. It's been a very good webinar. I enjoyed every bit of it, and thanks, Kelechi, for putting this up.
You're welcome, Yosoga. Thank you. I love the fact that you spoke about visibly felt safety leadership. And like I said earlier as well, there are problems everywhere. Name it, oil and gas, aviation. There are problems everywhere. We need to develop that thick skin of ensuring that we do what is required. It's very important not to really lose hope. Thank you so much for reinforcing that. Kelechi, the last question, please, before we call it today.
Okay, the last question. We have Mr. Charles here, and he says, in a situation where an internal audit has been scheduled, and on the day of the audit, the auditee requests for a rescheduling, what advice would you give to the auditor? So he wants to know, a date has been set for the audit.
I understand the question.
Okay.
So basically, right, the response to that is, I spoke about effective collaboration. So you must be able to understand why the audit is even being postponed in the first place, right? Before you go into that same mode with whomever that is requesting for the shift in audit. But trust me, you cannot audit the process without an auditee, right? So if they say they want to postpone, understand the reason why they want to postpone. If it's something that can be resolved, why not? Be part of the team to resolve it. And trust me, if you're able to do that for them, you get their buy-in all through the audit processes. In fact, don't see that as a risk or an avenue for you to get angry. See it as an opportunity to warm their heart before the audit starts. That's my response. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun. In fact, this is very, very educative, highly educative webinar. I've learned a lot from today's presentation, trust me, from the questions to the response. Everything about this webinar has been really insightful, like it was promised. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Balogun. So all our attendees, we appreciate your presence here today. And without you guys, there won't be a webinar to start with. So you are the real MVPs of today's webinar. And we are really glad you all could make it here today for the webinar. And I'd also like to appreciate our constant attendees. They've been attending our webinars back to back to back to back, and I'm really grateful. Thank you very much for always making up time to attend our webinars. And we hope to see you all at the next webinar. Like I said earlier, this webinar is brought to you by Green Shield Safety. And Green Shield Safety is committed to ensuring the workplace safety of every Nigerian worker. We want to ensure that our workers go home safe and in one piece to their families. And we'd also like to implore you to join, to follow us on all our social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'd like to see you all there. Then the recording for this webinar, the slides will be made available to you. But first, you ought to be following us on our social media platform, and we'll make the recordings available for you, as well as the certificate of participation. Like we had promised, we'll be handing out certificate of participation for all attendees of today's webinar, along with the slide and the recordings. You have to be following us on our social media platform. And we have a link on the chat box. Check the chat box. You would find the link to our page, to our social media pages, so you can go ahead and follow us. Okay, thank you very much for joining the Green Shield webinar. My name is Kelechi, and our presenter was Mr. Balogun Shitu, the HSE manager for 7-Up Bottling Company. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you. Bye.
Good boy. It's in a me, take it easy. Catch some cruise with my keys. You should go for the days. Come on for the body, know the breathe. Put on your shoe, make it stand that teach. All your sorrow, make it dance them free. If you know be la, yeah. If you know be la, go to the foot. Oh my joke, what you want, my jojo? My jojo, yeah. And if you know be la, go to the foot. Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, joy is coming. Dubai, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming. Only early in the morning, you. Dubai, Oluwa, yeah. Joy is coming, joy. Up and never. Do what you wanna do. I want to shine on what do. We are happy, happy people, we are happy. We are happy, happy people, we are happy. Happy people, we are happy. 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 Baby, the weather is getting cold inside. Double sweater, I am young, ordinary, paranoid. I can picture this world without you, my life. Oh, baby. Sweet Fanta Diallo, I know fit forget you. Hey, Bezina, if I speak English, you will. Cho, no walking. I don't want punish you, I want to punish you. If you see my baby, you go shut up. I'ma get too fine, don't be makeup. Yeah, baby, lie down, no. Finish one for me, oh, tomato. Put that thing back, oh, baby. You be rice and beans with assorted. Point and click is the concept. Why you like me for your consent? Baby, how you treat, not my problem. Baby, what you see? All around the world, everybody don't say you are beautiful. Body like me, you looking so good, you're too big. Anything you want, I'ma do it. Do it, oh. Cause you sweet, but you're not the low Maggie. You want to go Maggie? You want to go Usha, look boy, it's in a me take it.
Hello, Mr. Emmanuel. Looks like you want to say something. What do you have to say? What do you want to tell us today? Hello, Mr. Emmanuel.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
I'm so sorry I missed the training.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry about that.
Okay, so I would like to know, would there be another training subsequently or a recorded class of this very training?
Yes, we have the recording. It was actually recorded, and the recording would be sent to you, but you have to be following us on our social media handles, and we'll do well to forward you the recording.
Okay.
We'll send you the recording and slides.
So would there be training another time?
Yes, there would be in 2 months' time.
In 2 months' time.
Yes, it's we need to put some things in place before we commence the next training.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that will be
And we'll do well to notify you prior to the time so you can register and as well attend it.
Yeah, that will be okay. That will be okay.
Okay. We are glad you could still come around, and we'll do well to forward the recordings and the slide to you. Just make sure you're following us on our social media handles, and we'll get that across to you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. Do have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
And you too. Thank you.
All right.